That's my son Jack playing his favorite game. That's another family that's here playing together with their dad. It's adorable. He's very good too, the dad. They're all good. This kid is incredible. He jumps so high, I can't get over him. But look at my son. I wish he had somebody to play with him. He deserves so much better, my son. He really does. Such a good boy. But that's a thing I can't give him. So he really loves sports. Way to go! So happy he is that those older kids. I think they're much bigger, but he's happy. I think they're much bigger, but he's happy now that they came. Look at him. So happy to see people, friends. He wants to be with the boys. I'm trying to give him his space. He's been stuck with me, so I try to let him go to his friends' house to different games with all these guys. He's Friday making friends. He's 12 years old. I'm so lucky, actually. In general, having nothing to do with sports, I'm saying. I'm very lucky. I don't know how I got that lucky because he's the greatest. Such a sweet boy. He's a good person, which is not something you can really make someone into. He just naturally is. Actually, when he was a baby, if he would see tears in my eyes, he would start getting tears in his eyes. That's how caring he is. But I know as you get older, you start to hide that sometimes, or get more guarded. But he's a very nice person, honorable, highly unusual. I can't get over him. Did you see that one? These kids are all amazing. I mean, you don't see any bad players. It's the weirdest thing. Like even the parents, it's ridiculous. Not me, of course, but I'm on the outskirts. I like basketball, but I don't like to ruin anyone else's game, so I wouldn't join a league. I don't want to mess it up. Just like I wouldn't join a poker tournament. You could probably guess I wouldn't be too good at poker. I think that's Terrence's son. He's gorgeous. And what's great is the community is very close because all these people know each other's brothers and sisters, and they all play together. And it's been like having temporary brothers and fathers at the coaches at his school. They're so incredible. But not only are they exceptional with sports, and that's why the Twin Valley team is just always ranked way up there, the best, because of the coaches. And you're talking about females too, and they're all great people. So they hang out together, they spend time with the kids. You never see kids unhappy about sports or being pressured in a way they don't want to. Everyone's having a good time, even the parents. It's the craziest thing. But I'm so proud that my son is on this team because it's one of those teams where you see it from your other school and you're like, oh my God. Whenever you're going to play Twin Valley, you kind of know you're going to lose. I mean, you're going to assume that you're going to lose, and you'll probably be right. That's him in his happy place. Barry would be so proud. That was one of Barry's favorite games. Look at my son. I can't help myself. Everything he does, I want to jump up and down. But yeah, I'm trying to stay out of his way and not be annoying. I let him go sleep over his friend's house for several days at a time. All these things I never did before. But he definitely needs that in his life. He needs to be around friends and men that are good men, that he sees are good men and that are a good example. And he has that. Just thank God for that school. I thank God for that school. Twin Valley has literally saved my kids and really made me feel such relief that my kids are in the right hands with everybody. The principal, Anna Roth, um, Mr. Oyster, he's amazing. The guy that took over as the principal now, he's a great person, a family member, an honorable guy. He's done so much for that school as well. So any of them to take over, you're always going to feel comfortable. And you know when they make decisions, they're making the decisions based on the kids and not money, which is huge. They just have a sports program that you can't even believe. I mean, people I know, if they saw that, would pay top dollars to send their kids to these people. I mean, you're talking about like you could never put these kids up against Great Neck North. And I'm not putting down Great Neck North. I'm just saying it didn't seem like people were as interested in sports there. But when they were, even the parents here, so they're learning from very young. I saw this 3-year-old kid on the soccer field. He was like Pele at 3 years old. I was so impressed, and it wasn't unusual. That was a crazy thing because it's part of their life sports. Music and sports. It's like their parents do it. They all do it together. That's why my son can play with those kids. In Great Neck, he would have to wait for kids his age, but they all know each other. High school is attached to the high school. They grow up very differently here, and they start working when they're very young, so they're like little adults. This is the most you'll see. Like this is as wild as you see. Really, they're all very close. That's why I feel comfortable with my son going from house to these people's houses to house because and staying at their house for several nights because they're all a community of people that are either teachers at the school or part of the police department but they're all family because they grew up together. That's why the locals here deserve a lot more funding. These kids need a beautiful sports facility, indoors and outdoors. You know how much money you could make? Just people watching these kids. They would come here to train their kids. You could have the kids be teachers, the coaches teach. You have classes for the adults. I mean, we would have loved to know how to play like this. My father used to pay for the most expensive camp to send my brother for 2 months. It was like called Kutchers or something to learn basketball. And they were good. I'm not saying they weren't good. But this is on another level, and they don't even realize it. But they need, like, look at this park. It's like overgrown. There's like one old swing set, and like that's it. I mean, there's that whole field they're doing nothing with. They could make this into an amazing like sports recreation center, and then in Twin, people would come to the games. People get very into games, to the spirit of the game and the spirit of the town when the teams are that good. And here they are that good. They just don't get a lot of publicity. That was actually one of the things I was most happy about for my son. I never thought I was going to find that. Because as good as the Great Neck schools are ranked, they're not even close in the sports department. They would have to come here to see what they do here. But these people need more funding. Why would they leave them like this? But you see, even with this, these kids are incredible. They don't care what's there. Even the skiers, if they don't let them ski on the mountains, you have to pay $1,000. Like if I had known that when I was young, I would have never skied. I would have felt like one of those people saying, "Let them eat cake," while all the locals are like making the mountain what it is, and they can't ski, and everybody else can. I wouldn't have skied, and I'm pretty sure Barry wouldn't have gone near that if he thought that the people here couldn't ski. Who knew, you know? But I think at that time they could ski, it was like a different thing. Now you have to work for the mountain to ski, and the only deal the locals get is one day out of the year on St. Patrick's Day when everybody else gets a deal. So you have to be skiing like a sardine if you want a deal on one day of the year, which is horrible. Like, can you imagine? Like, it's your mountain and people move in. Oh, we're going to make a skiing business, and then you can't go on your mountain anymore. You could, oh yeah, you could ski. Here's the ticket, $100 a day for people who make $10 an hour, $12 an hour. It's just ridiculous. So nobody could ski. That's why I would not ski anymore. I didn't ski this entire year only because it like makes me ill. I feel like who am I to ski? Not that I wouldn't want to ski, but it's like I feel like doesn't there have to be a program? My point was is that just like this park and what these kids make out of the parks and everything, and these coaches, CB at all these guys, Nick Roth, Anna Roth, the principal, one of my favorite people, Fran Cunningham, one of the greatest female coaches I've ever seen. First of all, she's so much fun. Everybody loves being around her, adults and kids. She's there. She teaches the girls team, the boys team. She'll do anything, and she's on the team. She catches the ball. She does everything. But the coolest people. And when I send my son there, I see him sitting with the coaches and everything. They treat him like he's one of their family. It's like he's getting the family he doesn't have in a way. You know what I mean? So that has been so freaking valuable. You have no idea. And that school, Twin Valley, has given my son that. They're very good to kids who have special needs. They have special needs programs, which other schools don't have here for some reason. But they don't get enough funding. They get actually less funding than the school next to the mountain, even though it's much bigger with more kids. And they have all kinds of programs for special needs, very inclusive there, which is why I found that one article so weird about that kid. I believe that kid 100%. That he had a bad experience there, but all in all, Twin Valley, from all the stuff that I've seen in different schools, is an incredible school. Whatever it is with the funding system that's going on, which doesn't make any sense, unless you're only doing that because it's next to the mountain. The smaller schools in the area are getting more money, but that again falls into line with what I'm saying, and it's like part of that losing cycle of them just investing in the mountain things and the things near the mountain, as if that's all we can do is be next to a mountain. Back in the day, but they had logging at least, and at least they had a say on things because they were a part of the economy. They've been weeded out. I mean, you either can bust your ass until you die for $10 an hour for the mountain, or that's it. A shovel or whatever. When look at all the gifts that they have here, nobody's even noticing. I mean, this is where we should be sending our kids to learn sports. Send them to Twin Valley. Like, let's put money. Anybody who cares about sport, they want their kids in sports. We should donate to Twin Valley because that is the school where they have it. They have it all. I know kids that go to the other schools that when the sports season comes, they go to Twin Valley because they know. Everybody knows. It's part of the pride of this area. The reason why I'm mentioning it is because I know how much we all spend in sports camps and this and that and the other thing. This is where we should take our kids. Upstate New York isn't even close to this. All the camps we went to, not even close, not even the sports camps. I mean, I'm telling you it's true, or I wouldn't say it. Like, I wouldn't say it about certain other areas here, but this is definitely where they're at. But they don't have any money. They need more funding, 100%. I don't know why the state would give them less funding. It makes no sense at all. Our legislator is going for people weighing or something, and it's being said that it's about equal funding, but I don't know exactly enough about it and what's different from now. There definitely needs to be a change in the funding, but it's highly unusual to me that a school with like 3 times the amount of children as the other school would get less funding than the school that doesn't. That's kind of weird. These kids, they have something needs to be fixed there, but they'll work with anything. They're in a place where their feet get hurt because they don't have the right like cushioning in the floor for all the athletes there. You have real athletes there, real athletes. They have holes in the ceilings. Where the kids are like plugging them up themselves. I mean, that's not right. These kids need more funding. I don't know what's going on with the education funding, but definitely just based on what I see at Twin Valley, and they're redoing everything. But all in all, you would be so impressed with Twin Valley because of these kids and the teachers there and the coaches. Like I said, Fran Cunningham, CB, Nick Ross, and there's so many more. Oh my God, now I'm forgetting the main guy that also incredible. Now I'm going to forget his. He is so good. His son's on the team. Because I'm blanking out. That's what happens to me. It's like performance anxiety. And I know the guy so well. I don't know why. But one of the police officers even coached Sam Morris. Incredible. Like, even if I was not happy or if I felt like I couldn't survive or I felt like I wasn't treated well, seeing my son be a part of this it's invaluable. You couldn't pay for this. And I wanted to come here and show you I'm proud of my son. But most importantly, just what this means to a boy that's been through trauma, who doesn't have, his father around, that doesn't have relatives looking for him or anything. He's always on his own. But this is like a family. I could never pay these people for this. And I would pay anything. Oh my God. Did you see that? I think that's Taryn's son. I can't get over these kids. They really are. Look how happy he is. That's my son in the red vest with the little ponytail. He's so adorable, but he's so happy because he's like brothers. And then when he sees the fathers, like the coach CB, treats him like a son too. He treats them all like son. That's why they love the sport. You never see them like dreading it. They want to be at every game. They want to watch each other. They cheer each other on. He doesn't just go to his game. He'll stay there for 4 hours, watching everybody. And the girl team is just as good as the boy team. Sometimes they play together. Kudos to Scarlett, named Fran Cunningham's daughter, and a wonderful father too. But this little girl is her cousin Cameron. They do every single sport you ever saw. Julie's daughter, Julie Cunningham, another incredible athlete, one of the coaches, somebody who's involved, family member. And they're incredible. This little girl, every time I look at a field, she's on it. Whether it's a boys' team or not, whatever, they're always with horses. They know like it's nothing. And I want my son to be able to do all these. I want him to have fun with it. I don't want him to feel pressure, about sports where everyone's in a bad mood. The coaches want to be there. Most of them aren't even getting paid. They're just doing it because they want to. And they love it. Like I said, both parents are involved. You'll see the women coaching too. and Taryn Lawrence, of course, who's incredible. All the coaches, all the amazing people there. Saying about Sam Morris, the police officer. His son is incredible. So when he was away, the son took over. He's like a teenager, but he's like a little adult, and they were all listening to him. They were inspired. They loved being with him. He knew how to handle everything. And when my son was crying, because it was the first game that they ever played that my son lost, it's like a new thing. He doesn't know about losing, whatever, so he must have felt bad about it. And he was crying like in the hallway. Sam Morris's son, who I didn't get to meet him, I know his first name, but took him in the hallway and was talking to him like a big brother in a way that I can't even describe to you. It was so freaking valuable to me. I was so grateful. And he sat there talking to my son, and he just was in such a great way that I couldn't have, if he wasn't there, my son would have been all alone crying. And I was talking to him, but it wasn't the same. If you ever feel like coming down and learning anything great, look up Twin Valley, because Twin Valley, on all levels, elementary, high school, junior high school, you're talking about professional level sports and professional level coaches. That you could hire these guys for private lessons, and your kid will come home after a summer like freaking Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I swear to God, I see kids shorter than my son, like running, throwing a ball all the way across and getting it in there. Like it's a serious thing. Yeah, I talk very fast because I'm trying to give myself a short amount of time on here, so I'm trying to rush. A lot has happened, and I don't have a lot of equipment. I don't even know if you can hear me now. And somebody said something to me yesterday that stuck with me. Xander and I have a lot of things. I'm going to be coming back on here in a lot of different ways and having other people. But I just wanted to show you guys this. I wouldn't be like we're all stars in my eyes when I'm saying all of Vermont is great anymore in that regard. It has the potential to be. It's been very hurt. Vermont doesn't have enough money. It doesn't have enough funding. They haven't been given enough for their infrastructure. They can't even fix their homes and their buildings. And a lot of them are damaged because of the water damage from Hurricane Irene, where we were given some help, but not enough, unfortunately, to recover from Hurricane Irene. So a lot of the homes were left moist with moist walls, and you know what happens then. Then it becomes an environmental issue. So I think the federal government needs to relook at Vermont because of the environmental hazards of breathing in the mold that they could not afford to take care of following Hurricane Irene. So when they're deciding whether or not they should give funding to Bernie for the infrastructure, I don't know why we're asking like everybody else. This wouldn't have gotten like this if it wasn't for the fact that we were not given enough federal funding after the damage of Hurricane Irene. Half the place was underwater. So everybody here who's only making $10 an hour, how are they going to afford mold remediation, which is $1 zillion? They're not. So they're going to live with it, and it's going to grow in their walls. And they could get sick. Somebody has to come here and help us with the federal funding because we wouldn't have gotten the mold if we had gotten the right assistance following Hurricane Irene. Bernie shouldn't be asking like he's asking for a favor. This is the help they never sent, and it just got worse. That's why we have black mold all over southern Vermont because we didn't get enough funding from the emergency, rescue system or whatever that's called. When what do you call it, natural disasters, etc. Maybe the government is struggling. I understand, but in other states, they got more when they had similar situations. Another example of how Vermont is America's redheaded stepchild because they just left them in it. What was going to happen? It wasn't going to go away. So that's a problem for the environment, it's a problem for the health of the people, and it's a problem for the infrastructure, which is the whole place. Somebody in the federal government needs to help because we are in this situation because of them right now. Not that they did it on purpose, but they need to come back and look at the type of help we need. Vermont needs a lot more funding, and Governor Phil Scott should pay a lot more attention to Twin Valley High School and come up close and see what's going on there. That's the school to invest in because they have the special needs programs, they have the sports. They are the ones with the good reputation. You know what I'm saying? Not meaning the other ones are not. I'm just trying to say, just saying it's impressive. You know what I'm saying? Where you notice these extra programs and the extra time, and then they have paras there that are out of this world, like Jamie Webster. I mean, you don't get people like that. That girl could I would put her with any child and know that that child would be in the best hands. Caring, loving to her own kids, the best mother you've ever seen. These are the kids that are caring for your kids at Twin Valley. So I would 100% feel safe recommending Twin Valley to my friends, not just for the sports, but also for the way they treat the kids. Because my kids were abruptly made to leave their school 3 months before their graduation in their last year, one of them, of junior high school. I mean, of elementary school, which is very traumatizing to kids. It would have re-traumatized them. If it wasn't for Twin Valley, it would have been lasting damage. And it would have been lasting damage for me. If it wasn't for Twin Valley, I think I would have just ended up ranting and screaming on the top of my lungs and like driving out of the state mad because I was so hurt by what happened because of my kids. But because of Twin Valley and how exceptional it is in every way, they have handled that and they have made my kids feel like family. My kids are so happy there. Thank you, God, is all I can say. So I guess in the end, when we were just disregarded and when they didn't care about, that decision, a decision harming kids in another school district, Twin Valley, hopefully God put us in the path of Twin Valley. That's why it worked out. That's why my kids are okay now. That's why my son is out there. And that's why I'm okay, because I know my kids are okay. All right, so I just wanted to say kudos to Twin Valley and all these kids and these families are taking my kids in. I can't even ever thank you enough. I really can't, because that's everything to me. Postcards from the bottom. I'll be back soon. I know I've taken a long time. I don't know if you guys are going to be able to hear me because I'm outside and I don't have my car anymore. So I have another car that I'm borrowing, and we'll talk again soon.